Okay, lesson 9.1 is roots and exponents. To start with, the square root of 9, which is really just asking the question, what squared equals 9, is 3. The square root of 18, we don't know offhand, so we'll have to split it. So you can do a factor tree and look for anything that you know the square root of or any perfect squares. So square root of 18 can be written as square root of 9, square root of 2, which is 3 root 2. Cubed root of 27 is really just asking what to the third power equals 27, and that's 3. Cubed root of negative 8 is asking what cubed equals negative 8, negative 2. Cubed root of negative 16, well, I don't know what that is, but I can split this into negative 8 and 2, and I know the cubed root of negative 8, cubed root of 2 will be the same as the cubed root of negative 16. Cubed root of negative 8 is negative 2, and then we have the cubed root of 2. So there's our answer. The 1 over n exponent theorem. When x is greater than or equal to 0 and n is an integer greater than 1, x to the 1 over n is an nth root of x. It sounds kind of crazy and more difficult than it is, like most theorems. This is just saying, for example, that x to the 1/3 power is equivalent to the cubed root of x. And essentially in these problems, x to the 1/3, this is written with a rational exponent. Cubed root of x, this is written as a radical. So they mean the same thing, but we have rational exponent form and radical form. So for example 1, 4th root of 16 can be written as 16 to the 1/4 power. Basically, what to the 4th power equals 16? So our answer is 2. Cubed root of 27 is the same as 27 to the 1/3 power. So what cubed is 27? 3. 5th root of negative 32 is the same as negative 32 to the 1/5. Notice the negative sign has to be in the parentheses because it was under the root. So what to the 5th power equals negative 32? So our answer is negative 2. This one, we're starting with a rational exponent. We rewrite it as a radical. 125 to the 1/3 is the same as the cubed root of 125. And for me, the roots are easier to, I guess, solve in my head, but whatever works for you guys. So what cubed equals 125? So our answer is 5. 136 to the 1/2 is the same as the square root of 1 over 36. If you know it from here, great. Otherwise, you can rewrite this as square root of 1 over square root of 36. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 36 is 6. So we have 1/6. And again, keep in mind, this is true because 1/6 squared is 1 over 36. You can always do that to check your work. For C, this negative sign is outside, so it's not in the parentheses, so it's going to be outside our root. So we have a negative sign, and then we have 4th root of 16. So since 2 to the 4th is 16, this part is 2. Bring down our negative sign. Since nth powers and nth roots are inverses of each other, any formula with nth powers can lead to the calculation of nth roots. What this means is that if you square something, the inverse or opposite is to square root it. If you cube something, the inverse or opposite is to cube root, etc. We're skipping example 3, nothing wrong with it. Probably do if we were in class, but we're not. When solving equations of the form x to the n equals a, so like x to the 3rd equals 8, for example. The n and the a will be numbers, the x will stay, could be any variable. The number of solutions depends on the degree of n, so what the power is, and the sign of a, or the number. So if we have x cubed equals negative 8, we're really asking the question, what to the 3rd power equals negative 8? So x equals -2, because that's the only thing you can cube to get -8. X to the 4th equals 16. X is actually 2 or -2, because 2 to the 4th is 16, and -2 in parentheses to the 4th is also 16. X to the 101st power equals 0. Well, it has to be 0, because you can't take anything to a power and get 0 unless you start with 0. X to the 19th is -1, is -1. X to the 20th equals -1 is no solution. I'm going to talk about these for a second. So this is an odd power, 19 is odd, and this is even. And essentially what happens is you're multiplying a bunch of -1s together. So you'll end up with, a pair, and each pair is going to be 1. And so with 19, you'll have 9 pairs like this, and then you'll have another -1 on the outside. So that'll make it equal a bunch of 1 times 1 times -1, which is -1. With x to the 20th, that's even. So you're going to have those pairs, but really you're just going to have 10 pairs that equal 1. And if you multiply 1 by itself 10 times, it equals 1. It's never going to be -1. That's why it's no solution. So for our summary of solutions, to be perfectly honest, I tend to just think through the answers like we did up above in this table. I don't use rules, but if you want kind of a set of rules, this is an option. So we're going to make a table. I'm going to use the, rainbow color just to make it extra pretty, extra fun. So x to the n equals a is always the equation we're solving. You either have a positive a or a negative a. And you either have an even n, which is the power, or an odd n. And the way this works is if you have a positive a, which is like your answer, like in x to the 4th equals 16, if you have a positive a and an even power, you will always have 2 solutions. If you have a negative a and an even power, you'll always have no solutions because of what we talked about up here with the pairs. If you have an odd n or an odd power and a positive answer, you have 1 solution, and if you have an odd power and a negative answer, you also have 1 solution. So again, you're welcome to use this table as you go through and kind of think of that, or you could just think through the answers, whatever makes the most sense to you.